Things that are and are not okay to say to someone with a service dog. Is your dog a service dog? What tasks do they provide? Excuse me, your dog is really well behaved. Or, excuse me, your dog is really cute. Don't ask. What's wrong with you? Why do you need that dog? You don't look like you need the dog. May I please pet your dog? As nice as that sounds, you don't actually need to pet that person's dog, and that's pretty much like asking to pet someone's nurse. They're busy, they're working. Don't do that. Do not try to call the dog over or call the dog baby names. This is extremely distracting for the animal and for the person, and super uncomfortable. Talk to me, the person, not the dog. Like for part 2 and comment with questions.
You have to start respecting service dog handlers and their dogs. If you see a working dog, please don't try to call it over, pet it, make kissy noises, or call either of us baby names. I think my dog is cute too, but you're a grown adult and you are fully capable of ignoring us. My dog is working. She has the ability to save my life and protect me from harm, and you're getting in the way of that. Don't bring your untrained dog into public spaces where it can attack my service animal. If you're a business owner, you're allowed to ask what task my dog provides, but you're not allowed to ask about my disability or discriminate against me based on it. Respect us.
Stop duetting her. Stop stitching her content. Stop acknowledging that she exists. She's doing it on purpose for views. She knows that's what's getting her attention, and you're feeding into it. Just stop. Just stop. She doesn't exist. Remember, if you're in a relationship with somebody and you're insecure about how your hair looks when you first wake up, or your weight, or anything, your significant other already knows that about you, and they still love you. They love that too.
Welcome to Queer History 101, Part 9. In colonial America, Baron von Steuben served as an openly gay man in the military and was hired by George Washington to train the American troops. With his strict technique, he transformed the American army, and his written drill manual is still used partially today. While he was one of early America's most open LGBTQ+ figures, he was far from the only man with known relationships with other men in the military. Welcome to Queer History 101 Part 10. Did you know that at the same time as the USA's mass paranoia of communist spies known as the Red Scare, the State Department carried out a methodical investigation against LGBTQ+ civil servants known as the Lavender Scare. This was because the government believed that these perverts were open to blackmail. This attempt to persuade LGBTQ+ people all through the 1950s and 60s only fueled movements such as the Stonewall Riots to fight back for LGBTQ+ equality.
So I might be completely crazy or I might be onto something. And I want your honest opinion and thoughts on this, but what if everything was non-profit or not for profit? Because we have non-profit banks, non-profit schools, non-profit news organizations, non-profit businesses. And being non-for-profit doesn't mean working for free. Plenty of non-profit businesses and organizations have pretty good salaries. They just constantly reinvest their money into operational costs and into public services for the common good. Before you say if we didn't have profits and businesses wouldn't have leverage in order to advance things, well, here's an example. You may not know this, but IKEA is actually a non-profit business, and they're specifically dedicated to furthering the advancement of interior design and architecture by donating $2 million or so a year. Essentially, any non-profit organization or business can further the advancement of something. Therefore, we would not need to have these overarching powers of leverage, but instead be multitudes of support.
Wait, is that it? Hold on. We're not going to mention why he invented the filament? To create a better standard of living for people who had only just been freed from slavery? Are we going to ask why kids are apparently learning about Thomas Edison?
Thomas Edison!
Ugh, and not learning about Lewis Latimer? These textbooks are incomplete. There were black Roman warriors, black medieval knights, black classical musicians, black cowboys, black fighter pilots. Where are they? I worry about you humans because you only live, about 100 years? To systemic racism, most of your storytellers prioritize white accomplishments, which leaves you with an incomplete picture. Ask yourself as you're learning history, who's telling the story? Was this modified to make white readers comfortable? Are major details being left out that would credit people of color and center their point of view? Honestly, I should have asked for script approval before agreeing to do this.
In my last video, I talked about the farmer protest happening in India. In my next several videos, I'll be talking about some specifics of the ongoing events. Take a look at this photo. That is a 70-year-old sick farmer, and you see that cut under his eye? That's from him getting hit in the face with a tear gas canister. When someone suggested he receive medical attention, he responded, "The most important thing is happening in front of us. We'll take care of it," meaning the wound, later. This is the strength of my people. When I see and hear people act in this way, I can't help but be overwhelmed with immense joy and admiration. There's this concept in Sikhi called Chardikala, eternal optimism, high spirits, to persevere even in the face of the greatest adversity. To see my people embody this idea makes me grateful to be a part of the community, and only further motivates me to do my absolute best to carry on the legacy of my ancestors.
This is Stampy, and welcome to a Minecraft Let's Play video. A video, nudge nudge, wink wink, inside of my loud— Oh my— what are you doing? No, you ruined it! I'll do my lovely world intro! Stop the music, stop the music. Oh, you ruined—
Hi. If nobody told you today, I want to be the first. You're so beautiful. Keep doing you. You're amazing and you're a star. Bye.
If you call yourself she, or he, or they, or perhaps you don't know exactly what you would say if someone asked you what your pronouns are, my dear, that does not make you bizarre. Your soul or energy piloting a human body, and how you choose to define that body is not up to anybody, except you and yourself, and I think you are inherently worthy and valid, whatever way you are.
I was recently widely accused of faking autism, and I've come to believe part of it is because of a fundamental misunderstanding of what stimming is. Stimming is self-stimulating behavior, and everybody does it. If you've ever listened to music just to listen to music, or doodle just to have something to do with your hands, you've stimmed. However, for autistic people, it's different. Autistic people can stim for communication, sensory regulation, emotional regulation, all sorts of different reasons. However, stimming is voluntary. It might be uncomfortable for certain people not to stim, but it is always voluntary. That means if you actively choose to move your hand like this because it feels nice, you're not faking. That's a stim. Autistic people might not notice when they stim, but they might also actively choose to stim. For whatever reason, either it is because they feel nice, or they need it to calm down. And stims are always different. Some are small and some are really big. That doesn't invalidate the person who's stimming. Hey guys, happy day of disability visibility, as I like to call it, and I want to talk about a topic that's really hot lately. Can non-autistic actors play autistic characters? Yeah. Should they? No. I got you. There are 3 main reasons that I'm just going to go over super quick in this video. This can actually apply to like most disabilities, if not all, but common sense, disabled people will be able to portray their own stories better. Why would you not want an actor who is going to do a better job at portraying the story you're trying to tell? Number 2, disabled people are so often left out of their own narrative. It is vital that we start putting disabled people, autistic people, in front and in charge of their own narrative. If we don't, stereotypes and discrimination, all sorts of icky things are going to keep happening. And finally, casting non-disabled actors to play disabled characters takes roles and jobs away from disabled actors. Why take jobs away from the people you're trying to help and talk about? Much love.
Hey, it would be really great if everyone just stopped using the R word, take it out of your vocabulary. It's extremely offensive. It has been for years. It's not funny. I knew not to say it since I was like 6 years old. Just cut it out of your vocab.
Good golly. Da 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 da. Bring it around now. Da 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 da. Ladies. Da 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 da. Good golly. Da 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 da.
When I was 11, I was diagnosed with ADHD. I've learned a lot of coping mechanisms over the years. I have a high IQ and a college degree, but I still feel stupid and lazy because I can't just power through certain things that are very difficult for me, but seemingly easy for other people. I wish that people understood that ADHD is a long list of symptoms. If you think you have it, please get tested, but don't say things like, everyone's a little ADHD sometimes, because it can be really minimizing of people who actually have the disorder.
So here's a useless fact of the day. And rather, Kendall, I suggest you listen up because this one is pertinent to you. Did you know in the country of Australia it is illegal to tell somebody to harm themselves to the point of death? That's right! Asking a child or anybody to harm themselves in a way that will cause death is illegal. This is all found in the Australian Capital Territories Crime Act of 1900. You heard that right. Even back in the 1900s, they knew this wasn't gonna fly. And with the fact that there's proof going around the internet that you did this to a child, yeah, how's that trolling defense working out for you?
Another thing people really need to stop doing with representing autistics in media is infantilizing us and desexualizing us. These two, I think, really go hand in hand. But yeah, one of the things media loves to do is make us seem like children. Think about Sheldon from The Big Bang Theory. I've only really seen clips of the show from when other people have it on, but just from that, the sheer amount of times the punchline has just been Sheldon the child. And that's why a lot of times you'll notice autistic characters don't really have love interests. Because of course they wouldn't have a love interest when the writer views them as a child. But this is harmful for the autistic community because it makes us feel like we're wrong for having sexual feelings. Because media tells us that we're not supposed to have sexual feelings or romantic relationships, when we do develop those feelings, we end up feeling like something's wrong with us, even though we have just as much right to romantic relationships as neurotypicals do.
You're probably familiar with many gay actors and entertainers, but in the early days of Hollywood, a gay actor often had to keep their sexuality hidden for fear of ruining their career. To keep up with the facade of being straight, a gay actor often would marry a person of the opposite sex, sometimes at the demand of their agents or studios. For whatever reason, these fake marriages came to be known as a lavender marriage. One of the most famous ones was between Judy Garland and Vincente Minnelli. She ended up telling her daughter, the fabulous Liza Minnelli, to marry a gay man, saying that they make the best husband